happened. There may be some officials with the Navy that might have some rough information, but I guarantee you no official cause will be for months away. It's going to take a while to figure out how these precision pilots, how this precision aircraft ended up crashing into a ground near the Sam Davis home. Thankfully, it looks like no one else was hurt, no one else on the ground. As you saw there, a huge apartment complex very close by, just behind the fence. It was not hurt. The people there heard it, felt it, and saw what took place. There, a picture again nearby. Yeah. The Smyrna Airport.
They're showing a picture of a fireball that's unbelievable.
During practice for the maneuvers of the air show, which begins tomorrow in Smyrna. We saw earlier, Sam, that they were flying over downtown Nashville today, giving folks a precursor of what to expect at the air show as they went over Lower Broadway and downtown Nashville in their precision and formation, as they do as part of the routine.
Yeah, we heard them from our house this morning. That was about 9:40.
Again, one person dead. We don't know whether it's the pilot or somebody on the ground, but there's no word on the pilot right now. And again, what's unbelievable here, folks, if you're just tuning in, is that earlier today, an Air Force Thunderbirds F-16 crashed, pilot ejected safely in just south of Colorado Springs. And now, hours later, a Blue Angels Navy FA-18 aircraft has crashed, and that plane's destroyed. Fireball, black smoke, parts everywhere. The fate of the pilot is not known. The Thunderbirds pilot ejected safely, and that plane is like almost intact on the ground. So much different situation. But this has never happened. Blue Angels and Thunderbirds crashing in the same day within hours. And again, decline, because you're not supposed to fly with the Thunderbirds if you had the unbelievable opportunity to fly with the Blue Angels and vice versa. All right, 800-801-8999, the nationwide number to get in on Schnitt. 800-801-8999. It's been a busy day. We're talking about Prince, his death now due to fentanyl, a synthetic opioid, fentanyl 100 times stronger than morphine. All right, back to the phones here. Let me grab Randy. Randy's in Plant City, Florida. Randy, you're a paramedic, huh?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right.
Retired paramedic.
What do you want to add?
You get most of the high points. They also make fentanyl in lollipops, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, I know that was a big deal for pediatric cancer patient children.
The thing that sticks out to me is they keep saying that Prince administered it himself. Now, with fentanyl, there's something that's very particular to it. If you give fentanyl in the IV too fast, besides the normal respiratory depression, blood pressure drop, and all like that, you can get what's called wooden chest syndrome, which is where all the muscles of your chest just freeze. And when that happens, you're not breathing. You're not going to do anything, even if we use the bag you see on TV to try to ventilate them.
Right.
Nothing. It stays like a rock, even several minutes after they've passed away.
Now, what about that? What about that save shot?
Yeah, the Narcan.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. The trick with that is that Narcan doesn't last nearly as long as most narcotics.
Right.
So even if you have a situation like where they say we want to give people Narcan and for in-home use for patients that might overdose, the danger is that I give that shot, the person wakes up, and we go, okay, everything's fine, and then the next morning they're dead, and you're like, what the hell, I gave them the shot. Well, it just doesn't last nearly as long as a narcotic.
Right, because if you remember a couple days before Prince died, he apparently OD'd on an opioid on his private jet flying from Atlanta back to Minneapolis. They had to land the plane in Moline, Illinois, and the reports were that they gave him a save shot on the runway, and the paramedics did, and they rushed him to the hospital.
Yeah, because there's different dosage of the Narcan that you can give, and sometimes they have so much of that crap in their system, they'll actually do a drip to try to keep that in there for the longer-lasting opioids. And that stuff is very, very addictive. I could tell you some crazy stories of what people do to try to get their hands on fentanyl, especially the fentanyl patches and things like that. Just would blow your mind.
Hey, thanks for the call, Randy. Appreciate the insight.
Yes, sir.
Kyle's in Annapolis, Maryland. Hey, Kyle, I know you want to talk about Navy jets, but I'm looking now at the scene of the Blue Angels crash in Annapolis. I'm looking at a live feed from Channel 2, WKRN, and I can see Blue Angels pilots now in those blue flight suits, which is exactly what, I had to put one of those on when I flew with the Blue Angels. And, of course, I'm looking at actual pilots, without a doubt, going through the wreckage. Let me bring up the audio for a second. Hold on a sec, Kyle.
That's another trooper going by me quite quickly, because they are literally just moving and grooving down this way, trying to get to the crash site. I mean, there's a lot of emergency personnel across.
Yeah, I'm looking, that was just some audio from Channel 2 Nashville, but I'm looking at several Blue Angels pilots because I can tell they're wearing the flight suits. And I can't read the numbers because the flight suits also have the corresponding number to what jet they fly. But there are several Blue Angels pilots on the ground at this crash site in Smyrna, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. Hey, Kyle, welcome to Schnitt in Annapolis, Maryland. You're on.
Thanks, Schnitt. So, the Blue Angels, they were just here last week in Annapolis, Maryland, flying over where I work for the Naval Academy's graduation. And I just want to say how it's almost a miracle, a small miracle, that Obama was here today with the F-16 crash, because, it just highlights how incompetent we are with the F-35 jet program, which is 3 years behind schedule, $400 billion over budget.
Yeah.
And this F-16 that crashed, its first flight was in 1974.
Right.
This F-18's first flight was in 1995. It's a little more recent, but, this F-16 that we're looking at, it's like 40 years old. And, that's why we have the F-35 to replace this, and we need the new technology. And, we're just so incompetent with all
Well, as you know, and I've talked about the F-22 Raptor. I've talked about the F-35 on the show quite extensively. And yeah, I mean, we need the new generations of fighter jet aircraft, but the F-35 is plagued. You're 100% right. It is just grossly over budget. But also, the big scandal with the F-35 is also capability. There are claims that the older jets actually perform better than the F-35.
Yeah, they're saying it's outmaneuvered, it's outgunned, it's out of range, it's visible to the enemies, which they said it was going to, be able to bypass certain sensors and detection, and it's horrible.
Yeah, I've extensively talked about over the years, the F-35 program's a mess, and I've heard nothing but bad things about the aircraft. I just don't know how we got this far down the road, technologically, to not have an aircraft that runs circles immediately around the older generation, whether it's the F-16, whether it's the F-15, whether it's the F-18. It's unfathomable, and to have it so over budget and have capabilities questioned, it's scandalous what's happened with the F-35 program.
We put in the most money in our military out of any other countries combined, like China, the UK, and so on. And for us not to have the best technology, and for a plane to crash right in front of our president, one of the highest figures in the United States of America, it's a disgrace almost. Like, I can just see international headlines. Like,
right. Well, it didn't crash. It did not crash right in front of Obama. For those that are just tuning in, crazy day. 2 military performance jets crashed. Obama was speaking at the commencement ceremonies for the U.S. Air Force out in Colorado Springs. The Thunderbirds, which is the performance team for the Air Force, they fly F-16s. They performed at the commencement. Obama saw it. And then afterward, an F-16 Thunderbirds jet crashed just south of Colorado Springs. The pilot ejected. The plane is almost intact on the ground. It's much different than the Blue Angels. And then, folks, a couple hours after the T-Birds jet crashed, we have a Blue Angels FA-18 that crashed just outside of Nashville in Smyrna, Tennessee. And there is one dead. We don't know the fate of the pilot. We don't know if it is the pilot. And that jet is absolutely destroyed. I don't know what number jet it was either. Hey, Kyle, thanks for phoning in.
Thanks, Todd. Bye.
All right, so a crazy day. I mean, this has never happened. Both aerial performance teams lose a plane on the same day within hours of each other. I don't think this has ever happened. A lot more to get to. This has been a crazy day. We're back in minutes. Hang on.
This is the Schnitt Show. Thanks for listening to the Schnitt Show on iHeartRadio. If you've missed any portion of today's show, you can always download the latest podcast at schnittshow.com.
Coming up on Schnitt, I have a lot of ground to cover. The latest Obama stutter. Can I add this to the famous vintage Obama stutter symphony? We ought to play that coming up. In fact, we will. Back in minutes. Hang on.
Schnitt. And tons of other cool Schnitt. Come and explore at schnittshow.com. This is the Schnitt Show.
Well, the reports are the Blue Angels pilot is believed dead in the crash. This just from NBC News. A pilot with the Navy's elite Blue Angels flight squadron is believed to have been killed when the craft crashed near Smyrna, Tennessee on Thursday afternoon. A Navy official confirmed to NBC News. No parachute deployed, the official said. The crash, which occurred around 3:01 p.m. Central Time, took place as the Blue Angels practiced for their weekend show. The crash occurred during the solo practice. A U.S. Navy official confirmed to NBC. The Navy is still working to confirm the condition of anyone on the ground. They're saying one dead, and the reports are that it is the pilot. And if you're just joining us, the Thunderbirds had a crash today as well, just after they performed for Obama at commencement ceremonies for the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. I mean, this never happened. F-16 Thunderbirds jet crashes. That pilot ejected safely, and the plane landed. The plane is almost intact on the ground. The FA-18 Blue Angels jet is completely destroyed. Fireball, thick black smoke, and NBC is reporting that the pilot is believed to have been killed in that aircraft. And again, I have a lot of appreciation for these guys because I had the unbelievable opportunity, incredibly rare opportunity, to fly with the Blue Angels for 45 minutes. And I got to fly with them in a really cool spot because, you know, the story with the Blue Angels is they travel around the country during air show season, and they do media flights. So before the actual air shows in a particular market, they do these media flights where they take members of the press or radio or local celebrities, they take them up for a flight. And I got to do this back in 2007 when the Blue Angels were performing at the MacDill Air Fest in Tampa, Florida, at MacDill Air Force Base, home of Central Command and SOCOM. And I was the third to go. There was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer that was first. Then it was a photographer for Channel 8, WFLA, the NBC channel in Tampa. And during his flight, he had to come back quickly because the plane had some kind of a technical issue with the air conditioning system, and my flight got scrubbed. So I didn't fly, which actually worked out very well because they invited me back months later. They invited me to fly up to Pensacola, to home base. And just the opportunity to fly from their home base and fly out over the Gulf in their training areas, it just afforded me the opportunity to have a much different